Welcome to the final learning outcome, where everything you've planned, collected, and analysed comes together as a finished report. We'll walk through how to structure that report on your named topic and how to write it to a proper academic standard. This is the stage where planning, data, and analysis turn into a single, individual piece of writing. You're asked to produce a suitably structured report on your named topic, and suitably structured means the recognised sections of an academic research report in the right order. It has to be your own work, set in a business context, and properly referenced throughout. A clear structure isn't just tidy, it helps your reader follow the argument and helps you pick up marks. Every research report follows a recognisable order, and it's worth carrying a mental map of it. At the front, you have the title page and abstract. The core runs through introduction, literature review, methodology, results, and discussion. And it closes with your conclusion, references, and appendices. Following that order quietly signals to the marker that you understand academic conventions. Let's take the opening sections in turn. The title page carries your title, name, the unit, date, and word count, plain but necessary. The abstract is a short summary, roughly 150 to 250 words, covering your aim, method, findings, and conclusion. And the introduction sets the scene, giving the background, your aim, your research question, and why the whole thing matters. Now, the middle of the report, where the real substance lives. The literature review gathers what other writers already say about your topic, building context and theory. The methodology explains exactly how you did the research, your methods, your sample, and your validity, reliability, and ethics choices. Then the results section presents what you found clearly in tables, charts, and themes, but crucially without interpreting it yet. That brings us to the closing sections. The discussion is where you interpret, explaining what the findings mean, how they connect to the literature, and where the limitations lie. The conclusion gives a direct answer to your research question, plus any recommendations, with no new data introduced. Finally, the references list every source you cited in full Harvard style, alphabetically, and the appendices hold supporting material like your questionnaire or raw data tables. There's a neat way to picture a well-shaped report, an hourglass. The introduction starts broad, moving from wider context down to your specific question. The methods and results form the narrow, tightly focused middle. Then the discussion and conclusion open back out again to the wider implications, and that broad shape keeps your writing logical and easy to follow. Here's a reassuring thought. Much of this report is already in your hands. Your methodology draws on the validity, reliability, and ethics choices from the first outcome. Your literature review and results come straight from the secondary sources and primary data of the second outcome, and your discussion grows out of the interpretation you did there. Even your references have been building quietly throughout the whole project. Writing needn't be daunting if you take it in order. Start by planning an outline using the standard headings, then draft the middle first, your methodology, results, and discussion, because that's your core evidence. Frame it afterwards with the introduction and conclusion, add your in-text citations and Harvard reference list, and save the abstract for last, once you actually know what you found. Then proofread everything, check the word count, and submit. A literature review is often misunderstood, so let's be clear about it. It's not a list of one-paragraph summaries. It's an organized discussion of what's already known about your topic. You group sources by theme or idea rather than marching through them one at a time, and you compare and contrast, showing where writers agree and disagree. Done well, it reveals the gap your own project helps to fill, and every claim in it carries an in-text citation. The abstract is small, but it works surprisingly hard. In about 150 to 250 words, It summarizes the whole report, covering your aim, your method, your main findings, and your conclusion. Write it last once you know exactly what you found, and keep references, charts, and any new information out of it. Many readers decide whether to carry on based on the abstract alone, so a clear one shows the marker you can summarize your own work. Academic writing has its own quiet set of conventions. Write formally, in full words, usually in the third person, and stay objective, backing claims with evidence rather than opinion. Keep your paragraphs clean, one main idea each with a clear topic sentence, and label every table and figure so you can refer to it in the text. And of course, stay within the word count and use headings that match the standard structure. Harvard referencing has two halves that work together. In the text, you give the author and year in brackets, for example, Saunders, Lewis and Thornhill, 2019. Then, at the end, the reference list gives the full details of every source, alphabetically by author surname. It matters because it credits the people whose ideas you've used, protects you from plagiarism, and lets your reader track down anything for themselves. Let's see referencing in action, where the same source appears briefly in the text and then in full at the end. A book might read in the text as Bell and Waters 2018 and then appear in the list with its full title, edition, place, and publisher. A website like the Office for National Statistics gives the author and year in the text, then a full entry with a web address and the date you accessed it. The golden rule is simple. List everything you cited and only what you cited in alphabetical order. Let's follow a real named topic through. What factors most influence customer loyalty at a small independent cafe? The introduction explains why loyalty matters to small businesses and states the aim. The literature review draws on sources about loyalty, service quality, and price. The methodology describes a piloted questionnaire of 140 people plus an interview, along with the ethics and sampling. Then the results show the satisfaction charts and comment themes. The discussion finds that friendly service and value are the strongest loyalty drivers, and the conclusion answers the question and recommends staff training and a loyalty card. It's clarifying to compare a strong report with a weak one. A strong report follows the standard structure in order, links its findings back to the aim and the literature, uses labeled charts and accurate referencing, and is honest about its limitations. A weak one jumps between ideas with no clear sections, dumps data with no interpretation, has missing or inconsistent references, and overclaims from a tiny sample. Knowing the difference is half the battle in writing the strong version. Before you hand anything in, it's worth a final sweep. Check that every standard section is present and in order, that your aim and research question are clearly stated and actually answered, and that every source cited in the text appears in your reference list. Make sure your charts and tables are labeled and explained, and that you've acknowledged your ethics and limitations. Then check the spelling, grammar, and word count, and send it off for submission. It helps to know what the markers are looking for. They assess your knowledge and understanding through the quality of your research and your use of sources, your subject-specific skills through correct business concepts and sound method, and your transferable skills through structure, writing, referencing, and independent working. A clear, honest, well-referenced report quietly evidences all three at once. Let's bring the outcome together. A research report follows a standard structure from title and abstract through to conclusion, references, and appendices, and it takes an hourglass shape, broad, then narrow, then broad again. Its sections lean directly on your earlier work, with the methodology, literature review, and results all drawing on what you did before. Write with formal academic conventions and accurate Harvard referencing. Link your findings to your aim, admit your limitations, and check everything carefully before you submit. So that completes the journey from a clear aim all the way to a polished, well-structured report. If you'd like extra support, the recommended texts from Saunders and colleagues Bell and Waters and Denscombe walk through report writing and structure in real depth. For referencing specifically, Cite Them Right is the classic go-to, and the ONS website is perfect if you need credible data to anchor your findings. Dip into whichever fits your stage, and you'll have everything you need to write with confidence.